Hello, my name is Vanessa Campos, and I would like to present my presentation on Todd Blanche's review of the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case and saying that it is currently over. This news article was written by The Garden and written February 1st, 2026, and this is my project for psychology in the news. So I would first like to start off with the summary. The Deputy U.S. Attorney General, Todd Blanche, the point person on the Trump's administration Epstein files release, told ABC News on Sunday that prosecutors' review of the Jeffrey Epstein Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking case is quotation mark is over. Many accused Todd Blanche of going against the Full Transparency Act. They released only 3 million pages worth of documents, January 31st, 2026. Many victims, politicians, and U.S. citizens argue they are withholding way more, and that's only half of what's really happening. Many demand accountability from most wealthy individuals, world leaders, celebrities, presidents, and multi-million/billionaires that are business people involved in these sex trafficking of these minors and prostitution of minors. Blanche dismissed many of their views and said, "This is the end. There is nothing else to do with this case," and states there's no one else they should prosecute besides Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I would like to talk about the psychological approaches they use to commit these heinous acts to prove um yeah. So and based off of what I've learned from our textbooks and there's certain ways that they used to do these things. This will be a little sensitive topic for certain people, so yeah. Um, for them to make these approaches, they definitely had to go through a gene environment. Growing up rich with powerful parents, they obviously see a lot and see the power trips a lot of people can have, and how powerful they are towards people that aren't as higher up as them, or people that are working for them, or people that are just legit doing business with them to secure stuff. But both Maxwell and Epstein grew up from rich families with much power. They saw what power looked like at a young age. As they got older, they learned how to abuse their power on young, vulnerable girls in low-income neighborhoods, willing to do anything to help out their struggling parents at home, willing to make money. They also used persuasiveness and foot in the door technique. They would use persuasion slash foot in the door technique in a negative effect. Maxwell would persuade these 10 to 17-year-old girls, saying if they do this favor, helping out Epstein, give him a massage, and bring a friend with them from school next time, they will pay them huge amounts of money. The girls never realized the traumatic things that would later happen to them after. Another thing that they definitely used was scripting. They threatened many of these young girls if they ever told authorities, friends, or parents what happened to the police. They would not believe them due to them having interconnections with the police to also hide these things under the table. Many didn't speak out 2 years after due to the fear. They used scripting, letting them know if they disobey the consequences of what will happen if they create that situation for themselves, or if they go against the typical script. They warn them if they tell any of their friends at school or anybody that they were told to invite, like they will go through nobody believing them. And yeah, and many worse things. Um, So many, including myself, believe there is more out there that they are hiding. Even looking through the files myself, sadly, and seeing a lot of things that are definitely a lot of proof that this is a terrible case that many people are able to get away with due to their status. Um, and a lot of people wonder, why would the government want to lie to us? And honestly, it's to protect the faces of the higher ups, politicians, presidents, royalties, and billionaires, and to hide the crimes that they have done, to make sure none of them lose their spots. This is highly against the social rules and social norms of any normal human being able to get away with a horrible crime should be doing. These people traumatize and ruin innocent lives and get away with it because of their powerful role they hold in the system. My biggest questions after reading this article is when will the government um notice or take any action, hold any sympathy for these victims? When will these powerful people be held accountable? Why lie when we already know the truth? My biggest advice to you after reading this article is that everything isn't what it seems. Victims had to endure and suffer years worth of fighting for the truth to get out, to later be outspoken and dismissed by the government. Blanche acknowledged and told people there's a lot of horrible photographs that appear to be taken by Mr. Epstein or by people around him. That doesn't allow us necessarily to prosecute somebody. And for him to say, but that doesn't mean we can't just create evidence or that we can just kind of come up with a case that isn't there is definitely a reason to be skeptical about why they are dismissing so easily and trying to protect the people associated. And um and that is all that I have for my project. Thank you for listening.